Hey everyone, wanted to do a quick little showcase of this Doom Blast Pathfinder build. Just gonna showcase killing some of the bosses, and I guess I'll run a map as well. It's a pretty fun build, end of Sanctum League here, so I just wanted to show it off a bit before the league ends. I think it will most likely still work in some form next league. It does take use of Pathfinder, so there are some pretty significant changes to Pathfinder next league, but more or less it should still work. And there's two uniques that are Sanctum only, so you won't be able to get those next league, but even without them, you should still be tanky enough and deal enough damage. It might be a little bit less, but there's also some new tanky options next league, so it should overall probably work out. Might be a little worse. I'm guessing it's probably going to overall be better next league though, so you won't be able to get Eternal Damnation or this skill jewel, so the Balance of Terror won't be able to get that either. I will have the POB in the description. Warning for new players or even like mid-level mediocre players here. This is not a beginner-friendly build at all. It is taking use of a lot of complicated mechanics all put together, so it's easy to fuck up. So just be careful. If you're going to try to play this build, I would recommend watching Steel Mage's overview of the build. You want to look at everything in the video that he explains, because a lot of pieces of gear and a lot of the skill tree is super specific to make this all work. And that being said, I didn't come up with this build at all. I just copied basically everything Steel Mage had and made a few adjustments for myself because I wanted to delve with this character. Another thing to note, when I first got it set up, I wanted it to work in like endgame stuff right away, so I put a lot of money into it right at the start. It was like the initial setup, I put in 30 to 40 divines and it could easily clear tier 16 and pretty deep into the delve. Since then, I think the total cost of all this gear at the end of the league is somewhere between 300 and 400 divines. Awakened Spell Cascade support alone, 2 of them, is 50 divines together. It worked very well with the 30-ish divine investment. I'm sure it would work with even less, but I don't know how well it would do at the start of a league. But I do plan to start next league as a Pathfinder and transition into this at some point. I'm probably going to start with Poisonous Concoction or some sort of trap setup, and then test out Doom Blast as I go, and then once I feel comfortable switching, I'll switch over to that. So I personally think you could probably start as Pathfinder doing some other sort of good league starter setup and then maybe transition into this later on, but I don't know how early on you'd be able to transition into this, so just keep that in mind as well. And I guess one final thing to mention, you won't have a Sanctified Relic next league, so both myself and Steel Mage made use of that pretty efficiently in our builds. And I think I spent a lot longer on the intro than I had initially intended, so links in the description will have Steel Mage's overview and two Pathfinder videos for next league about potential new defensive options for Pathfinders that look pretty promising already. So I'll have those links below. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into some gameplay of the build now. So I'll run a Minotaur map and do some of the Uber bosses and a Delve boss. Fair warning for the Uber bosses, I haven't practiced them and I don't usually do Uber bosses, so if I look really bad at doing those encounters, it's because I am. Alright, let's ID this map just so you can see the mods on it. Players have less cooldown recovery rate is actually not ideal for this build. That's another thing I didn't mention, is your cast speed and cooldown recovery rates. They need to... There's kind of breakpoints in which the build bricks itself or not, apparently. I'm not super confident on how to actually explain that, so... But If we have a less cooldown recovery rate here, I'm going to take my cast speed flask off. Let's just hop in. And my game sounds are really quiet. Let me make that a little better so you can hear all the juicy explosions. And I guess while we're killing and chilling here, I'll explain some of the other mechanics. I have chaos explosions from one of the cluster jewels. Since I had spec'd this more towards delving, I wanted the explosions to help kill things in delve, have the smaller monsters, you know, chunk out the bigger monsters for me. If you're just doing bosses, you wouldn't need the explosions, so that's just an option on your cluster jewel setup. And here on this next pack, I'll show you that this build can just stand in everything. It's a tier 16 map. The flasks proc when full, and I gain charges when hit. So then all the other damage reduction just makes it so their hits do very, very little, and I heal myself every time a flask is popped. So that's that. You can just stand in a whole bunch of shit, unless it's dot or ground degen of some sort. You're pretty much good to go. And I tried tanking like the... Oh, that's pretty cool. I tried tanking the Maven's memory game explosion before. I think I was a little bit less tanky, but I did not survive that. I don't think I can survive it yet, but I don't have... I could get more fizz conversion, which makes you tankier every time you get another percentage of fizz conversion to elemental damage or chaos damage. So, could get tankier. I'll probably get hit by it on Uber Maven, unless I don't know. Unless I have good memory. But I expect to fail the memory game at least once. Or I can claim to have failed it on purpose just to see if I could tank. And another thing to keep in mind, it'll be more obvious when you're at a boss, or when I get to a boss here. With Spell Cascade, you want to actually make sure you are directly targeting the bosses or the rares if you want to kill the rares faster. And what I mean by that is you want to have your cursor directly on them, at least at the start of holding down the button here. So pretend this thing here is the boss. You want to actually have your cursor on it so the overlaps are all hitting, as opposed to like trying to kill a boss like this where only 1 or 2 is hitting. You want to have it directly on so everything's overlapping. So kill Minotaur here. We'll tank all this stuff like it's nothing. And then as far as, you know, the gameplay here, if you haven't noticed, all you need to do is cast whichever curse is in your chest. So I have Temporal Chains in my chest, so I'm just holding that button down and casting 3 different buffs pretty much all the time. So you have Focus, that is for your increased duration of ailments in your helmet, Withering Step to apply Wither, and Malevolence to get more chaos damage and stuff like that. So there was the Minotaur. Alright, next up, Uber Searing Exarch. So there's the mods. They look pretty normal for me, nothing too crazy on there, and I did switch my flask back to my cast speed flask. So let's go ahead and do this. Oops. So yeah, there was the ground degens there. You can see that's why I was not recovering very much, or at all. Oh, Molten Minotaur. That's cool. So if it wasn't obvious, I can tank the balls. And yep, just hit focus, apply wither, whatever you're using to apply wither. So we can't survive that one shot, unless my granite flask wasn't up, I wasn't paying attention. So there you go. Not tanky enough for that. By Withering Step, hit the Divine Blessing Malevolence. And damage for this build, you basically get more the more cooldown recovery rate you get, so there's potential for me to get even more on my current setup here, get more cooldown. That's the... I'll dodge that this time. There's potential for me to get more cooldown and more Fizz to Elemental conversion to get even tankier, so this setup's already pretty damn good. It's more than good enough for pretty much everything in the game, but there's a lot of min-maxing you can do on this build, which is pretty fun if you want to invest a lot into a build. The one thing that is very annoying with the curses is you can't really see what the fuck is on the ground. Some of the stuff on the ground shows up through the curse, but other times it gets hard to actually see the animations, like when he's winding up. Maybe I'm just not used to seeing it because I don't fight these bosses very often, but it is kind of annoying having the entire ground just be dark purplish black. What'd we get? Ember? What's this? I don't know. I think the boots are... I guess the boots are a good drop. I don't see many listed. I don't know what's going on there. I guess if the boots are a good drop, epic, cool, poggers, nice. It's the last day of the league. I don't really care. Alright. So, Uber Exarch done. Uber Sirus, let's go. I hate this boss, by the way. Alright, ow. Wait. So I think this is my first time doing Uber Sirus. No, Sirus. Quite a few times, so. Oh, the differences before I came in here, I thought I'd just, go in blind. Because I'm lazy. That's basically the reason. I'm lazy, I didn't feel like wasting fragments earlier in the league, but I wouldn't mind if I failed the Uber Sirus. But I think we got this. It was cringe getting here, but I think we'll kill it. I think we'll die. The thing I hate most about this fight is trying to get into playable area. I think it's a really stupid, boring thing to have to do. I think the rest of the fight in general, while difficult, isn't too bad. I used to hate this a lot more because I was trying to kill Sirus, I'm curious if I'm not kill Sirus. This might hurt. Okay, we're done. Let's stop saving DJ. So one thing that is good to consider for bossing, there is a bench craft or an unveil craft that's like a regen for one of your flasks. I am not running that, but it would be good for situations like that where you're at like half health, and the only other way I really have of getting my life back is spamming my flasks for the percent on using a flask. It's not the greatest from coming back. Oh! Two portals left. Oh boy, I think I feel it. I might be better off just tanking and not stepping in bad degen stuff. Oh god. Ah, well, we failed. Alright, moving on to Uber Shaper. I do know how to do Uber Shaper, I think. So, let's go. So as you can see, we can tank the slam and the balls, no issue. The one thing I can't tank is the beam. I do need to move out of the beam. And I do need to set these pools off to the side. But I can stand in the beam for like a second or two. I think probably 2 seconds before it kills me, so I get a lot of time to move out of the way. Ah, shit. I didn't mean to pop that bubble in the middle. Whoa. You almost got me there, Shaper. Must have still been hitting me there. Bum, 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 bum. And there's the Uber Shaper. Alright. Alright, Uber Maven time. there's fine. I don't know what that is. I was running level 9, did it? Oh boy, I cannot heal for 3 more seconds. Top. I can't see shit. Okay. Whoa. Oh, I was saying you didn't move. That makes a lot of sense. Oh my god, we tanked it. That's close. Stay on this side. That's not the way I want to dash. Oh. Top, left, top, left, top. Uh-oh. Alright, oh, it's not well. It's not well. There's so much shit on the floor. Oof. Alright, and last thing I'll show off here is depth 850 all, and I think this one can one-shot me with his slam. We'll find out here, but this fight's going to take a very long time. I have gotten some DPS increases since the last time I tried to fight him because I was failing and decided I'd come back later or just skip this one, but we'll try this one again. Also, you can see how tanky we are in depth 850 here. So let's see how this goes. So we'll just see how much of it we can tank. I can tank all the auto attacks, and I think his projectile attacks shouldn't be an issue. I know his phase where he shoots out the shield charge or the charging dudes, I can tank that. The only concerns are his slam moves. And this is going a lot faster since I've gotten my DPS upgrades. Just use most of the dynamite there. So, if you can tank the damage from these things, if you stand close enough to them and they don't push you out of the way, I don't know if all my dynamites hit him. He might have been invulnerable for some of them. Alright, let's see if we tank this. I think I dodged and evaded. So yeah, at some point I'll probably, if I put this in the video, speed it up so you don't have to sit there for 5 minutes watching this. I don't know why when I hold tab it doesn't show me the depth here, but I can open up the chart. Ugh! I should probably dodge those, huh? I think he did high rolls on his great. I'm gonna die to those slams. And the bullet hell phase with this build, I can tank perfectly fine, but he seems to go invulnerable longer or more often, so I just don't want him to go into that phase anyways. Maybe I'll let him go into it right at the end, just to show it, but... Oh, not in. Oh. Alright, so I'll let him go into his bullet hell phase right at the end here, just to show off that we do not have a problem tanking it. Well, if he goes into it. Okay, yeah. I was like, maybe I suddenly have too much DPS. Alright. There's his bullet hell. Which is actually safer than him doing his slam attacks, so... And there he goes. Nice. Alright, and I almost forgot about doing a fully Delerious map, so I put this together here. We got some Scarabs and Currency Delirium put onto this Tier 16 Underground Sea. Some extra juice. We got Harbinger, Bestiary, Beyond, Searing, Exarch, Sextants, so pretty fully juiced up here. I mean, I could corrupt this and go for worse mods, but I'll just keep it as is and not corrupt it and waste the map here. So let's do it.
Chodai.
Oh, that was like... Boss over here. This boss can be quite annoying for me since my DPS is on the lower end. The build is all about tankiness. So when he gets his ES back, it's really bad. Or really annoying. Well, I think he's dead, so maybe I spoke too soon. That boss is definitely a lot more annoying on like stage, the later stages of Simulacrum. And the sounds just seem to break after a certain point. Because I'm still dealing a lot of damage, but you don't hear the Doom Blast anymore. Oh, we're full. Wait, one splinters, is that the whole thing? I was totally stacking splinters. That's okay. Oh, they dropped from those. Okay. What's the easy portion on that? Let me stash. I just lost, I don't know. Do you want to see how much loot right out here? Or can I put this? Alright, that stack of splinters is... where the rings end and the splinters start is the loot from this map. Just for funsies. Oh, I was carrying around a couple of these. I think I had 7. Put those away. There's a boss over there. You see Omniphobia is going down pretty quick. I know your bosses. Get me out of that. That's annoying. The temporal bubbles are definitely really bad. I think they're bad for most builds, but they're bad for this one as well. Alright, there you have it, 100% Delerious map. So we'll take a few of these for the road. Alright, excluding some random fractured items. Starting from here is all the loot from that map, if anyone's interested. Let's see. How many gilded scarabs? Few gilded scarabs. 100 splinters. Alright, that wraps up everything I'm going to showcase for the build today here. But yeah, overall, pretty fun build. Just wanted to show it off a bit. Also, I'll be streaming my league start on Pathfinder on Twitch, so if you have any questions, if you hop by in the chat there, I'll probably be able to answer them during the live stream. Otherwise, I do apologize if I don't get to everyone's questions in the comments. Either I don't know the answer or I don't have a lot of time and I didn't get to it. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed and have a good one. Peace.